Hey, I'm here this evening with the beautiful Amy.
Oh, hello, beautiful Karen.
Poor Amy, she had no idea that I trapped her on this telephone call to make a video.
Oh, that's okay, that's great.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit today, Amy, on empaths. Because I feel I'm one. You feel you're one. Mickey feels he's one. Monique feels she's one. Gillian is mega intelligent and sensitive in other ways. So there are loads of people. I'm not saying everybody thinks that they're empath, and some people don't even realise they're empaths. But you know, the other day we did the video about the guy noticing the smiles left or right and what it means and which spectrum you're on. If you think of an empath, it would have to be the autistic side, not the Asperger side. Because what I feel is that I just think that everybody's got this tendency. You can see it in their face, and even if their smiles don't crank, there's the lines in their face will around their mouth, so you can see which is their positive and negative. You know, their weak and their stronger side, left or right. You can see it in their smile, and I think that all of us have these traits. I mean, when you listen to what an empath is, surely, you know, they pick up on frequencies. Well, what do autistic people pick up on? Frequencies. Don't you find that crazy that they don't include, well, empath is some kind of autistic spectrum then?
Right.
We're going to play little bits of video. We're in front of the video. Amy, what's your thoughts about an empath?
Well, I know I can really pick up on other people's emotions being an empath. I can tell if they're upset or if they're angry or if they're happy. I can always pick up on it, and honestly, it can make me anxious because I can tell if something is wrong with somebody, if they're not happy about something.
Well, in this bit of video we're going to play, they do talk about the fact that obviously we're sensitive and aware, and we pick up not just on our own feet, whatever other people's feelings, but then they say, but then there's those that get locked into the other people's feelings. But if I changed who I was as a person, I'd have to change that empathic part of me. And you know, that's why in it we'll hear it as the video goes on, that narcissists love empaths because they can play their games with them.
Exactly.
Should we play the bit of video, and then we're going to play? Well, you'll understand, Amy. But we'll now listen to this bit of video, and then we'll come back in a minute. Is that all right?
Okay. Yes, that's great.
Empathy, the capability to share and understand another's emotions. Every human being is born with it. It is a genetic trait, one that is inherent in our DNA and is passed down from generation to generation. However, not everyone is empathic or an empath. An empath is a person who is born with the ability to psychically tune into the emotional experience of a person, place, or animal. They are able to sense what another person is saying even before the individual utters a single word. They are sensitive to the visible as well as the invisible. They are experts at communication and can quickly and proficiently pick up on body language, tone of voice, body movements, the words people choose when they speak, and the words they avoid, the logic they use, as well as other unseen energies. These are the clues that empaths utilize to read people. You may be surprised to learn that everything around us has an energetic vibration or frequency. An empath is able to sense these vibrations and recognize even the slightest change. Some empaths are so sensitive to the energies of the people and environment surrounding them that they absorb the foreign energies into their own bodies, allowing them to feel emotions that aren't even theirs. This is why it is vital that empaths learn how to block or shield themselves from unwanted energies.
Well, first of all, thanks. I haven't said thank you to all the channels here. I've taken little bits out because it's easy for me to say what an empath is, but I think people take more notice when other people are saying it. But I was a bit shocked, this guy here, he's going to say that empaths are like childlike. Inside they have an inner child. And I don't think I've grown up properly.
Oh, I feel that way myself a lot, to be honest.
What does that mean then? What, we never grow up?
Yeah, I guess we keep a part of our inner child all the time. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, you know.
The bit that shocks me is, though, Amy, when you're listening to it, and I know that we've both struggled it and other people have struggled it, but we just give in to the others. If there's a stronger personality, say they're a narcissist, we give in. And we struggle in silence.
Exactly. That's been my experience too.
That's really weird. So that's why I'm saying narcissists like empaths. But we don't have that problem, do we? Because we're both empaths.
That's right. We're both empaths.
So we just get on really well, don't we?
Exactly. We do care, yes.
Yeah. And all the narcissists will do is want something from you. But it's really strange that he stuck that in there. You know, I wasn't really looking for that part. I wanted an explanation of what an empath is, because in these videos they say that people don't understand that maybe they're them, or this is why life isn't adding up for them.
That's right. Exactly.
But I just still find it's really weird, because if we're super sensitive, it's just almost, that's got to be on the autistic spectrum. I just find that really weird. Like, that doesn't mean we're autistic, but we've got to be on the spectrum then.
Yes.
And we've never grown up.
Yeah, that's right. I guess it's something about being an empath that keeps us from all completely growing up.
We must live in fairyland then.
Yes. I mean, children are very, very perceptive of things, and maybe that's how we are, the same way.
I always saw that as we have this connection, whatever it is, with whatever we're connected with, whether we're Neos, you know, from the Matrix, and we're plugged in here from Motherland, or there is a connection to something. I don't know, we just keep this, whatever that is, or the people that made us.
Yeah, that's right.
I just felt that connection's been there since a child, and I never lost it.
Me neither. I never lost it either, the connection. And I've had it from
I think
a
it's
child
with spirit,
as well.
you know, like I know I've told you with spirit world, I find it really strange that a medium never says anybody comes back. So there's one Amy, one Karen, we don't come back. If our souls do, they do, but the people don't come back at all, the spirit then, or whichever way around it is. But I'm just saying, I would have said in the past that that's my connection to spirit world. It's weird that, isn't it? And now I feel differently about that, but I do feel it's a connection, because all empaths are the same. We can feel it.
Yes, definitely. We can definitely feel it, that's for sure. And I think we're connected to the spirituality as well.
Yeah. Should we go on to the next bit, Amy?
Yeah. Yes, Karen.
Coming to you today with a new series on empaths and understanding the empath temperament, exploring the empath temperament and empath psychology by looking at the question, what is an empath? Now, the term empath is not recognized as a clinical construct, and there is no standardized definition of what an empath is. I use the term empath broadly, as I believe it's a helpful descriptor when applied to individuals who have been victims of genuine narcissistic abuse. And I've found that these individuals tend to share common psychological features, core key traits and blind spots, which makes them more vulnerable to being victimized by narcissistic individuals. Now, empathy literally means to feel someone else's pain, to feel someone else's feelings, to absorb and be greatly affected by their energy. It's not the same as having sympathy or understanding where someone else is coming from, but literally to feel the feelings of others. An innately high level of attunement to the needs and the energy of those around them. Number two, an empath has difficulty referencing their own needs, including those of their own physical body, especially when they are under stress. Number three, consequently, empaths have an energetically porous psychic structure. That is, they very easily give up their energy to those around them or take on the energy of those around them, and are thus more sensitive to environmental insults and the energy of predatory individuals. And four, empaths have an overdeveloped inner child energy, but typically their inner child has not learned how to properly receive or take in nourishment or support from their environment, and does not receive adequate protection from the underdeveloped adult self of the empath. And this is what I'll be explaining in more detail in future videos in this series.
What were you saying, Amy?
Well, I think that's very interesting what that gentleman was saying, because he's talking about the brain and how it's neurons in the brain that affect if we're an empath or the opposite, which would be a sociopath. So we have maybe like overactive neurons, I guess he's saying, whereas a sociopath has underactive. And so we're aware of everything and everyone around us, whereas the sociopath doesn't care, and it's all to do with the way our neurons are acting. So like we might have hyperactive neurons in our brain. I think that makes some sense. There's a lot about the brain we don't understand. So it's interesting that it could be something within the brain that would do this to make us an empath, or the opposite of an empath.
It's hard to imagine what the other side would be like. I'm a sociopath today, and it's totally different, okay? I don't know. I've never been like that. I've always been super sensitive.
Yes, me too. Me too. I feel other people's feelings so much, even to the point physically. If they tell me like they have a headache, I'll start to get a headache. That's why I could never have been a nurse or anything, because if you tell me your chest hurts, my chest is going to hurt. I'm very sensitive to other people.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that, Amy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, that's me too.
Yeah. We'd be like magnets, dunk, if we met each other, dunk.
We would.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, thank you for saying that, Amy. Shall we go on? What were you saying, Amy?
Well, I think that's very interesting what that gentleman was saying, because he's talking about the brain and how it's neurons in the brain that affect if we're an empath or the opposite, which would be a sociopath. So we have maybe like overactive neurons, I guess he's saying, whereas a sociopath has underactive. And so we're aware of everything and everyone around us, whereas the sociopath doesn't care, and it's all to do with the way our neurons are acting. So like we might have hyperactive neurons in our brain. I think that makes some sense. There's a lot about the brain we don't understand. So it's interesting that it could be something within the brain that would do this to make us an empath, or the opposite of an empath.
It's hard to imagine what the other side would be like. I'm a sociopath today, and it's totally different, okay? I don't know. I've never been like that. I've always been super sensitive.
Yes, me too. Me too. I feel other people's feelings so much, even to the point physically. If they tell me like they have a headache, I'll start to get a headache. That's why I could never have been a nurse or anything, because if you tell me your chest hurts, my chest is going to hurt. I'm very sensitive to other people.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that, Amy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, that's me too.
Yeah. We'd be like magnets, dunk, if we met each other, dunk.
We would.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, thank you for saying that, Amy. Shall we go on with the next bit now?
Yes, Karen.
Today we're talking about empaths. What is an empath? Is this even a real thing, or is this some spiritual mumbo jumbo? Is it just a way for people to feel superior to other people? Well, let's talk about it. Let's see. So first of all, an empath, I mean, it's pretty clear from the word itself, is someone who is highly empathetic, someone who is extra hyper empathetic to the point where they feel other people's emotions. They pick up on the vibrations of other people. This isn't just normal empathy. This is the kind of empathy where you go to the very emotional state that another person is in because you just can't help but feel it. Now, while many New Age circles like to talk about this kind of thing, there is some science behind it, because in your brain there are these things called mirror neurons, and these are the things that are responsible for the, what would you call it, the emotion of empathy. And what else would a mirror neuron do but mirror the emotions of other people? So when you see someone and they're crying or they're happy, these neurons in your brain start firing to make you feel sort of along the same lines as this other person. So an empath has hypersensitive, hyperactive mirror neurons in their brain. So yeah, it is kind of a real thing. It's sort of the opposite of being a sociopath. Their mirror neurons are not firing, and so they just don't feel as much empathy as other people.
Yes, Amy.
Yes, I can really understand that. I think she's right. It's a gift. But then it can also be a curse, because when you're absorbing everybody else's feelings and emotions, it can sort of overwhelm you. That's how I start to feel. Then it's so hard.
When you listen to what they say, Amy, what do you make of that? It sounds like we absorb all the people. What, are we Christ-like then? Wasn't that what we thought Christ, that vision of Christ would be like? That he absorbs everything and he loves everything, and what's that? Are we like him now, or what is this? We're absorbing feelings, we absorb everything, we're a psychic sponge. What is all that?
Oh, it seems that way. I mean, we just definitely absorb everything, everybody's feelings, and yeah, it is a bit Christ-like, and I think about that, and that's the thing. But if you believe in Christ the way I do, it's hard for me to think he could come and take all that on, but he was still able to do everything. Like, I would have been very depressed if I was him, and he didn't get depressed, because he was still able to do a ministry and do everything. And I would have been probably getting depressed myself. But if you believe like I do that he was God in a man, then it was a little bit different. But it is like a Christ-like quality. I do agree with that. And we just feel and experience everything of other people. And I always, if I'm with somebody and they're...
So I mean, you know, because there's indigo children as well. And we could be, it could be that we're indigo children.
Yes, that could be too.
It's a bit crazy, isn't it? But it's all about absorbing feelings, when right now we're in a world where we're not supposed to have any. You're not supposed to think, you're not supposed to feel, you're not supposed to care, you're supposed to oust your family and not give a damn.
Exactly. They don't want you to have any feelings, and that is very hard.
No cuddling.
Exactly. They want you to be like a robot or something, a machine. And
not going to work with the empaths, though, is it, Amy?
Does not work with us, no.
And it doesn't work with autistic or Asperger people, and people maybe who've got other, you know, varied kind of whatever you want to categorise them as. You just can't boss them.
Exactly.
I don't get that either.
Very hard.
What did they say? We made the wrong mix. We made too many autistic ones. They're hypersensitive.
Yes.
And we don't want them like that. We need to make another breed.
Oh, exactly.
It's horrible, isn't it, to think that, you know, like, we carry these empathic tendencies, or whatever you want to call it, and our children don't.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how that works. You would think they would be just like us, but I guess there's so many children that they don't take after their parents. They're just different from sometimes they're just like their parents, and other times they're the opposite.
My grandmother was into all this. She used to speak to her spirit guides and that, but my mum and her sisters, they didn't like it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're more like your
Yeah, and she died when I was 7.
Oh.
In fact, both my grandmothers died when I was 7. One died in September and one died in October. I don't think it was a very happy house in my house.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, 1971.
Oh, that is very sad.
My mum's mum was only 59 when she died.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and she was the whatever it was. She was all into spirit. Right? She was probably an empath then.
Yes, she was the empath.
I do sometimes, though, Amy, feel it's a curse. Because, you know, I do know other empaths. But it's like no one really can come near you because you're an empath.
That's true, I agree.
You know, you really need to find another... As we're empaths, we need to find another empath. And then when we go out to that world, all you're doing is hitting narcissist after narcissist after narcissist.
I know. It's true.
We need to link up with another empath.
Another empath. You're
Because
right.
they're the only ones that are going to understand you.
Exactly.
But what does that mean? Does that mean that we're autistic as well?
Yes, I mean...
What, that when they explain it all, and it's all like this, and you're thinking, wow, I just thought I was an empath. I understood I was sensitive, but
I know.
it seems a spectrum of something, and it all sort of, to me, leans toward, after watching the guy with the faces, the autistic way.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's just a spectrum.
I know, but everything's to do with frequencies again, Amy.
Well, that's true too. It is to do with the frequencies.
Anyway, yeah. Should we go on to the next bit then, Amy?
Oh, okay. Yes, Karen.
Okay.
As a psychiatrist and an empath, I'm really excited to share with you what an empath is and tell the difference between an empowered empath and a disempowered empath. An empath is somebody who is an emotional sponge, and they absorb the emotions and physical symptoms and energy of other people into their own bodies. So sometimes that can take a toll, and their gifts are many. The gifts are being intuitive and open and deep and connected to nature. But a disempowered empath is somebody who does not have the skills to center and protect themselves, so they absorb the energy of other people into their own bodies and often suffer with chronic fatigue, exhaustion, depression, and just not feeling well. So being an empath can feel like a curse instead of a gift.
Hey.
Amy, it sounds like we've got something wrong with us.
Yes, it does, Karen.
On this bit we're just coming to, this is the next bit of video. We're talking before each bit of video, but by the time I've listened to some of these, I'm thinking, is there something wrong with us?
Yes, I know. It does
So
feel
you've
that
got an
way.
illness, Amy. Illness.
It's like,
Illness.
yes, like an illness.
I don't think I like that very much. I never thought it was an illness, or it may be anything. I just thought I was a very sensitive person.
Me too. But a few years ago, I realized that it could affect me in a negative way. I did realize that a few years ago.
Do you know what? If you know, in love, if you find the right person who's empathic like you, and you're that open, then love would be very special, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would. It's never happened for me, but it would be very special, yes.
You need another empath, don't you?
You do. I've never had one in my personal life. Not, for a romantic relationship. I've never had another empath. My ex-husband or any of the fellas I dated were certainly not an empath. They were the opposite.
Yeah, well, I might be lucky, and I've met one, Amy, but
Oh, yes, Karen.
you need like they say opposites attract and all that, but if you're going to be happy and you're an empath, you need another empath, because they'll be the only ones to understand. They'll go, oh, for you.
Exactly. That's really nice.
But I'm also not used to it myself, because although I'm one, and you can give that empathy out to other people even if they don't even see it, but when someone's doing it to you, I'm like, no, it should be me doing it, sort of thing.
I know.
I'm doing it.
That's right. Well, I've just never experienced it before, so I wouldn't even know what to make of it if I had a partner that was an empath.
What's this bit about, like, there's something wrong with us? Almost,
Yes.
because we're mega sensitive now.
Exactly.
Which is true, isn't it, Amy? It is true.
Yes.
I think that's why we get on so well, because we're just very attuned,
Yes.
and I don't know, we just don't ever have a bad word, do we, Amy?
Oh, that's right, Karen. That's a blessing.
We're friends, not foe. Friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should we go on with the next bit, Amy?
Okay, Karen.
What is an empath? Nowadays, more and more people are identifying with what's known as being an empath. It kind of sounds like a superpower, but what exactly does being an empath entail in reality? Roots in empathy. The word empath comes from the word empathy, or the ability to feel what another person is feeling. This is different from sympathy, which involves feeling sorry for another's misfortune, without actually vicariously experiencing what they're going through as well. An empath is a special type of person, who has a keen awareness of the emotions of the people surrounding them. This means an empath can feel what other people feel, to the point where...
Amy, it sounds like we're a radio.
Oh, yes, you're right, Karen. That's a great observation.
It's all tuning in with the frequencies. Get the right frequency.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to think about it, like a radio.
Also, because obviously people are listening into us, as an empath, the ego side of things doesn't come into it either, does it?
No.
No empath talks about egos and all that crap.
Right.
I'm better than you, I'm bigger than you, I've got more money than you. None of that comes in.
That's right. There's no place for it for
I
an
was
empath.
a little bit shocked with these videos that it was a bit more like something wrong with the empaths rather than the more positive side of being an empath. Because there is, you can give cuddles to people because you're an empath. You can, even if it's just touching their arm.
Right.
You can do things that other people can't do.
That's true.
But we sound, listening to the next bit, like we're a radio.
Yes, absolutely. Like a radio.
Yeah. We're coming to the end of this video now, Amy. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Just on this whole thing about an empath?
Yeah, well, I think too that the society we're in doesn't really encourage empaths. you know, they just encourage us to stay to ourselves and not really reach out to other people. And, you know, it used to be years ago, a man could touch a woman by the arm at the workplace or something, just take a woman and lead her nicely along, and now that would probably be considered harassment or something. It's just we're empaths in a world that doesn't really support any kind of physical touching or love or, you know, help. That's probably why it's hard to be an empath in this world, I think, because the society...
Also, something else they didn't talk about, Amy, was that we see things that other people don't see.
Right.
You know, when I was younger, I used to think, those people, you know, I used to say it to friends and that, those people coming towards us are going to argue in a minute. I just noticed it's people's vibrations, you know. See, there's people over there in the restaurant, they're not very happy.
Yes.
You know, from across the room I can see it, feel it.
Exactly. Me too, that's a good point.
And then sometimes, like you said about the headache, like you've got a headache and then you leave the room and the headache goes.
Exactly.
But it doesn't happen with every single body, does it? Not everybody you meet, do you get this empathic exchange with them? But then certain people come along and they're probably not empaths, or they are empaths, whichever way, but they're doing things, and that's what clicks you.
Yes, that's true. You never know, like, who is going to set you off with your frequency or whatever. Just never know. So that's a hard thing to deal with too.
Well, I'm glad that we sparked ours off, Amy, because Amy's been how many years? Like, what is it? 18? Like since 2018 at least.
Yes. So about
4 years, Amy.
Yes, or maybe it was 2019. So going on 3 years, something.
You think it
like
was that 2019?
Yes.
Well, it's still a good. That's still a good time, and I'm glad we took the jump.
Me too, Karen, yes.
Amy's one of the best friends you could ever had, and she's lovely. And sometimes she goes, and if people write weird things in the chat, you know, and the messages, Amy will go and protect me.
Oh, that's great.
What
Karen.
more of a friend could I ask for?
Oh, well, I was just gonna say you're a wonderful friend. You're the best friend anybody could ask for.
Oh, Amy.
You're a wonderful friend to me and to so many people. So it's a blessing to have you for a friend, Karen.
Oh, I love you, Amy.
Oh, I love you too, Karen.
It's quite simple. There's love around us.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a shame the rest of the world isn't awake then, isn't it? Or attuned.
Oh, it sure is, Karen.
You know, with this thing with the mouths, and you've got this electromagnetic field which helps your body and supports what your body's doing, and the heart, and even that I found. I might have to find that video when that guy's talking about the heart. Hopefully I can find him when he's explaining, you know, like the heart tells your body lots of things. Right, we're taking the waste out there, the dead blood cells are going there, and that blood's going around the body. The heart tells the body what to do a lot.
Yes, that's right.
So if you've got this electromagnetic field, but they're always damaging somehow, whether it's through being blindly controlled through the television, etc., then I don't know. But you know what, just changing the subject just a tiny bit, I put a video out about Boris and that, and the one with Trump, but in it you can see the BBC are very biased.
Oh, definitely.
What it was is I came across The Independent, and Boris is standing up for himself there, saying to the Labour leader, but the BBC didn't show any of that, and the BBC, because so many people supposedly watch them, are dictating. They're dictating this story.
Yes.
I mean, even to the bit where they're outside Downing Street. So basically, what it is we can go and get a microphone, we can go with the press, we can stand outside 10 Downing Street, and then we can rip the Prime Minister to shreds at the same time. As if
exactly.
As if that would really happen.
Oh, I know.
Let's wait till we're outside 10 Downing Street and say what a crappy Prime Minister he is, really. And the news reporters going, it's gruesome, it's gruesome. It's all gruesome, the whole thing. For the last 150 years, it's all gruesome.
That's right.
So, you know, if they can affect your mind and make you believe, oh yes, down with, whether it, I just can't believe that, say Boris did do these parties, that he would, I've changed the subject now, he would be having all these parties while standing on a podium telling us you have to isolate and you're not allowed to see anyone, and that no one would notice, and now they're bringing it up now. So you know it's all their stories. They just cannot leave it alone. So do you see all those things are happening? That bit I hope is not going to do things to our, because it can make us ill, can't it? If they're affecting our electromagnetic field. And I think that all incorporates in with this autism, Asperger's, and being an empath. It's all to do with frequencies and stuff, isn't it?
Exactly, definitely, with the frequencies, all of this.
And, you know, we're not afraid to say we love each other.
That's right.
And, you know, to all empaths, all our friends, that's what we do. And what's the other word we say? We're lovely. Lovely Monique.
That's right.
Lovely Amy.
Yes, lovely Karen. Yes.
You need a bit more love in your life, and that's what I think empaths are about more as well.
Definitely. That's for sure, yes.
But this world is not for us, really, is it? It isn't. It's horrible.
Oh, exactly. I agree, Karen. It is. It's very hard for us to be in it.
Yeah, but I think it was explained on another video that we're in this while it's happening. That's what makes it worse. And there's still not much we can do because there's no one to go to.
That's right. Exactly.
No, anything else you want to say, Amy?
Oh, I think that's all for now, Karen.
Yeah, radio frequency.
Yes.
Tune in to us.
Yes.
Anyway, just asking, because, you know, in this video, they're saying you don't even realise maybe that you're an empath and don't realise that you're so dissatisfied with your life because of these reasons. I was just wondering, don't you think, Amy, how many other people feel like us?
Oh, I bet. Probably a lot.
And also, to add to that, obviously we hate what's happening right now. Well, it has been happening. We hate it with a vengeance.
Yeah.
It's against everything that we stand for as people.
Absolutely, yes. That's right.
Yes. Anyway, we'll finish on that note, shall we, Amy?
Okay, Karen.
Okay, the last bit of video will play out. Thanks very much for watching. Watch your thoughts. And love you, Amy.
Love you too, Karen.
An empath is someone that is extremely affected by the feelings, emotions, energy, and even thoughts of other people. The empath has the innate capability to understand people and tune into their emotions on a very deep level. Sometimes this is conscious, sometimes it is more unconscious. There are many empaths that do not fully realize what they are. Empaths also, again, sometimes unknowingly adopt the emotions and feelings of the people around them, essentially absorbing their energies. Sometimes this can become debilitating to the empath. You or someone you know may be an empath. Empaths are amazing, but processing these traits can be challenging. With understanding and awareness, however, this talent can be embraced, managed, and can become something you can truly appreciate.